Saint Elisha was a prophet of the northern kingdom of Israel in the Old Testament. He was the son of Shaphat, a rich landowner in the village of Abel-Meholah. One day, while Elisha was out in a field plowing on his father's farm, the prophet Elijah came along and cast his mantle over Elisha's shoulders, which was symbolic as a call to share in prophetic work. Without hesitation, Elisha accepted this call to service and followed Elijah as a disciple. Later, Elisha became Elijah's successor, building upon Elijah's work by restoring proper worship in Israel and teaching the people God's ways. Saint Vitus, according to legend, converted to Christianity when he was 12. One of the best-known miracles of healing attributed to him was when he freed Emperor Diocletian's son from an evil spirit. This cure, however, was regarded as sorcery, causing Saint Vitus to be subjected to various tortures from which he was miraculously saved. Eventually, he was martyred in Lucania. Today, he is known as the patron saint of dancers, entertainers, and epileptics. Saint Bernard of Menthon was an Italian monk and the founder of two famous hospices at the summits of two alpine passes that continue to welcome and serve travelers in that region today. These two hospices have been renamed Great and Little Saint Bernard in honor of their founder. Also named after him was a breed of giant-sized dogs from the Western Alps. Saint Bernard dogs are still used today as rescue dogs at the hospices. Saint Germana Cousin was a simple and pious young shepherdess who lived in Pibrac, France in the late 1500s. Her mother died when she was a baby, and her father remarried soon after. Born with a paralyzed right hand, Germaine received no sympathy from Hortense, her stepmother. Instead, she suffered mental and physical abuse from Hortense and her siblings while her father ignored her sufferings. Lonely and neglected, Germaine found a friend in God and embraced a life of prayer, penance, and almsgiving, offering up her suffering to God. She died at the age of 22 and was canonized in 1867 by Pope Pius IX. Sts Quiricus and Julitta were, according to tradition, put to death at Tarsus in AD 304. Quiricus was the 3-year-old son of Julitta, a widow. During the persecutions of Diocletian, Julitta was arrested for being a Christian and sentenced to death. Quiricus made a childish attack on the sentencing magistrate, announcing he was Christian like his mother. As a result, he was beaten to death in front of Julitta before her execution. Some scholars consider this story to be fictitious. Today, Quiricus and Julitta are both venerated as early Christian martyrs. Saint Albert Chmielowski was a secular Franciscan and the founder of two religious communities, the Albertine Brothers and Sisters. Born in 1845 as the eldest child of a wealthy Polish family, he was christened Adam and had a talent for painting. In 1887, after becoming a Third-Order Franciscan, Adam Chmielowski started to call himself Brother Albert. Later, in his efforts to bring lasting change to the poor in Krakow, he founded the Albertines and worked to help as many people in need as possible until his death in 1916. Saint Gregory Barbarigo was an Italian cardinal and bishop. Born into a noble Venetian family in 1625, he was instructed in philosophy and mathematics, and was taught Latin and Greek as well as the rudiments of music. He was ordained a priest in 1655 and was soon after consecrated as the first bishop of Bergamo in 1657. Later, he was promoted to the cardinalate in 1660 and was made Bishop of Padua in 1664. Cardinal Barbarigo was well known for his piety, compassion to the poor, and pastoral wisdom. After a brief illness, he died in 1697 in Padua. Saint Marina the Monk, also known as Saint Marina of Bithynia, was the daughter of wealthy Christian parents. After her mother's death while she was still a child, Marina was raised by her devout Christian father, Eugenius. When Marina was older, her father expressed his wish to enter a monastery after finding her a husband. However, Marina insisted on remaining with him and took the name Marinos to serve God under the habit of a monk. Once, after being accused of raping a girl, Marina did not defend herself but humbly obeyed the abbot's order of leaving the monastery and raising the child. Her identity as a woman was revealed only after her death. Saint Juliana Falconieri was the Italian foundress of the religious sisters of the Third Order of Servites. Born into a noble Florentine family in 1270, she refused her family's plan for marriage at the age of 15 and, instead, became a Servite tertiary, although she continued to live at home until her mother died. After that, as Juliana dedicated herself to contemplation and serving the poor, other young women began to follow her lead. Eventually, they became the female branch of the Third Order of Servites, and were distinguished by the mantellate, which were the dark cloaks they wore in imitation of the Servites. Saint Romuald was born of a noble family in Ravenna, Italy. He was the founder of the Camaldolese monastic order, one of the Italian branches of the Benedictines. Despite his attraction to the monastic life, Romuald spent most of his early life pursuing worldly pleasures. However, after witnessing his father kill another man in a duel, he felt compelled to atone for the crime by doing 40 days of penance for his father at a Benedictine monastery. These 40 days confirmed his monastic calling and became the foundation for his entire life of penance. Saint Adalbert of Magdeburg, sometimes incorrectly shortened to Albert, was born into a wealthy family in France. After having survived a serious illness, he became a monk at a Benedictine monastery in Germany. Later, he was consecrated as bishop and then became the first Archbishop of Magdeburg. This archdiocese was designated to provide missionary programs for the Slavs, and Adalbert proved to be a successful missionary to the Pelagian Slavs. Thus, he also came to be known as the Apostle of the Slavs.